All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we are going to deconstruct the whole complex world of modern hiring. And to do that, we're going to look at a really cool case study, a recruitment firm called JobGully. We're going to dig into their own materials to see, how the pros are actually tackling one of the biggest headaches in business today. I mean, this is a question that probably keeps you up at night, right? If you're a founder, a manager, anyone in HR. You've got this perfect role, this amazing project, but finding that one perfect person, it feels impossible, like trying to find a needle in a global haystack. It is a universal pain point, for sure, and that's exactly where we're starting. Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about the modern hiring challenge itself. Then, we'll meet our case study, JobGully. After that, we're going to break down their toolkit of services, see what gives them their special edge, and finally, look at some real-world success stories to see if it all works. Sound good? Let's get into it. All right, first up, the modern hiring challenge. And let me tell you, this isn't just about paperwork or, administrative tasks. No way. This is a huge strategic problem that can literally make or break a company's growth. Getting this right, it's everything. And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? The right hire can be a total game changer, a force multiplier, bring in new skills, new energy, new ideas. But oh man, the process to find them, it's a massive drain on your time and money. You're sifting through hundreds of applications, doing interview after interview, all while your team is already stretched thin. This exact problem, this friction, is why the whole recruitment outsourcing industry even exists. And if you're looking for someone in a really specialized niche role, well, the difficulty just goes through the roof. So, if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, for a lot of companies, the answer is to bring in a specialist. And that brings us right to our case study, JobGully. So, who is JobGully exactly? Well, they call themselves a leading recruitment company, but here's a really key detail. They're part of a bigger firm, Aritone Global Ventures. Now, in this industry, that's a huge advantage. It suggests they've got the stability and the deep resources of a parent company behind them. They work all over the world in both IT and non-IT fields, and their whole vision, it really hits on what we were just talking about. Growth comes from having the right people on your team. Okay, now let's get into the how. I mean, what does a company like this actually do for you? This brings us to their toolkit for talent. We're going to break down exactly what services they offer. So, first up, you've got their basic service, hiring solutions. The best way to think about this is like a targeted strike. Let's say your company needs one very specific, very hard to find expert. Instead of you spending months looking, you just outsource the whole search to JobGully. They tap into their network and find that perfect person for you. Simple as that. Then they've got something called RPO, which stands for Recruitment Process Outsourcing. Now, this is a much bigger deal. This is for companies that don't just need to fill one job opening. They need to completely transform their whole hiring system. When you use RPO, JobGully basically becomes your in-house recruitment department. They handle the whole shebang, from hiring tons of people at once all the way up to finding a new top executive. And finally, we have the biggest offering of all, HRO, or Human Resources Outsourcing. This goes way beyond just getting people in the door. This is about managing the entire employee journey, from finding talent to managing the workforce to making all your HR stuff run smoothly. It is, the full package. So let's just recap that really quickly. This table breaks it down perfectly. You need that one amazing software engineer? That's a job for hiring solutions. You need to build out a 50-person sales team from scratch? That's where RPO shines. And if you just want to outsource your entire HR department so you can focus on what you do best, well, that's HRO. See how it works? It's a tiered model, which is super smart. It's all about matching the right tool to the right job. Okay, but let's be real. It's a crowded market out there. So what makes these guys different? What does JobGully say is their unique advantage? Let's take a look at what they call the Aritone-powered edge. So they break their edge down into four main things. First, a global network, which means a bigger pool of people to choose from. Second, professional expertise. We're talking industry specialists here, not just generic recruiters. Third, excellent coordination, which is basically their promise that they'll be super responsive and easy to work with. And fourth, a commitment to quality, meaning they'll customize their approach just for you. But notice something here. All of these are fundamentally human advantages. Their network, their expertise, their service, their flexibility. And that's a really important point to remember. Having a good strategy is one thing, but can they actually deliver? It's time to look at the proof in the pudding, their success stories. Let's see how all this stuff actually performs out in the real world. Wow, just take a look at the variety here. We're seeing everything from hiring a ton of IT people for a giant multinational company, all the way to super specific offshore consulting for clients in the US, Australia, and Germany. They even mention an on site placement in Dubai. This is clearly designed to show you one thing: their range. They want you to know they can handle different sizes of projects, different countries, and different technical needs. And here comes the social proof. This is a testimonial from a big telecom company. Check out the keywords they use: quality candidates, best possible time, professional and timely services. This is exactly what a big company wants to hear, right? They care about efficiency, reliability, and getting things done fast, but without cutting corners on quality. Now, check this out. Compare that last quote to this one from the CEO of a tech startup. The challenge here was completely different. It wasn't just about finding talented people, it was about convincing them to take a chance on a small new company. And look what the CEO highlights: the enthusiastic professionals who could really sell the company's vision. This shows you a really interesting trend, I think. Big companies are buying efficiency, but startups, they're buying partners who can help them tell their story. So after breaking down JobGully's whole approach, this is where we land. We've seen that what they're really selling is a mix of good processes, a big network, and, most importantly, human expertise. And that brings us to one final big question for the future. With AI tools getting better and better at automating the search and screening process, how will that human touch, that excellent coordination and professional expertise they keep talking about, how will that stay the most important advantage in the war for talent? That's definitely something to think about.